Welcome back. Annie here again, and just going to discuss a little bit about capturing lectures. So this is a great resource. This is a product that I have used before. TechSmith has products like Jing and Camtasia. Now I know obviously that we're going to be using Teams, but you may want to think about how Teams is able to to stream some of this stuff for you, so you won't need all these software packages, but there's a lot of things in here that is really good to sort of think about. So effective videos so that you can engage your students. This is a really great link that I've included in the documentation here. Obviously now with Microsoft Teams, this is designed for their programs clearly, but with Teams, we'll be able to have a stream is where a lot of videos will be found when you start recording and people are on synchronously. This is a little bit different of a document here. This is more thinking about if you record ahead of time and place these videos somewhere, which if any of us get sick at any point in time, we may have to do that because we may not feel well enough to do this synchronously. We may be in the hospital. Heaven forbid that should happen. So I think you do need to have a plan in place, especially if there are key details or modules or lectures that you really need to be prepared for. You might want to do that in advance. I'm using Screencast-O-Matic. You can do that. You can do a lot of this stuff in Zoom and WebEx and Teams now, obviously. So you can see there's lots of platforms out there that all are very similar. What I think you need to remember, though, is not so much the tools that you have, because there are tools everywhere, but why do lecture capture, things about distance learning, what's important for the kids to get out of this. Clearly, we would love to be in the classroom and we would love for everybody to be in a synchronous environment, but that just may not be possible as this fall semester really kicks off and gets started here. So you may have kids who need to come back and listen to things more than once. They've caught on to something, but they need to come back and they need to listen to something again. That's a positive thing with lecture capture. Some of you may be teaching in rooms that it may not be super conducive, just given that we need to social distance. So maybe you need to capture something on your screen again, or you need to show some math problems, and there's a bunch of technologies out there for that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of variation and a lot of reason on why you need to lecture capture. There's a lot of documentation here on this TechSmith website on their blog about how you do these things. They're obviously using their tools. Most of you have probably played around with Teams a little bit. One of the things that's interesting, though, is how are kids utilizing this? So if there's ways that you can link Teams into Canvas, you can go into your analytics and you can sort of see how many times someone's spent in Canvas. I don't know if you've spent a lot of time in Canvas. I don't know if I can find this super easy or not here in this course, but I'm going to give it a shot. So Canvas does have some analytics for you to be able to go through and see on students, on grades, on assignments. This might be something, I know in our practicing with Teams earlier today, we were curious about, what's going to stop a student from logging in and saying they're present in the class, being there synchronously, and then go off and, be playing Xbox or something. I think those, there's nothing different in being in a face-to-face class and having a student on their cell phones or whatever. I think you're always going to have those challenges. But some of the things that you can look at with lecture capture or having your lectures recorded and placed somewhere, whether you don't upload them right away or you don't give access to Teams or whatever, is you can do some of this analytic type stuff. So that's kind of what this document is talking about here. There's some tips for what you're looking at doing. Clearly, there's some concerns with ADA and being able to do captioning and things like that. These are all, in a good year, these are all problems with doing some of these different things. So don't feel like all of this has to be perfect right now by any means. Try to do some different things if you want. If you have this happening with taking advantage of quizzing or polling inside, you're not going to be perfect the first time doing all of this stuff. So try to test some things out beforehand, but just give it a try and see if it works, see if you can figure it out. One thing that I will tell you about working through your lectures is, we're all in uncharted water with masking and being able to hear and repeating questions. One of the things that I'm going to try to do in my classroom is just sort of designate a student helper to monitor the chat, sort of be like the moderator in the class, be able to repeat questions if we need to, tell me to slow down or speed up in talking, whatever those things might be. I think most of our students are probably willing to help out in some of those cases. So, really think about and be succinct and direct in your instructions and your directions and giving examples and really sort of trying to figure out what you can do with your lectures and how you need to get information across. Clearly, it's not going to be the same as being in a face-to-face environment, which most of us are used to, but some of this will be trial and error. Again, same with anything. There are a ton of resources out there. If you need something specific, I have a whole group of people that are in instructional design. I'm on a big group for instructional designers that I can pose questions to and ask questions to if there's something in specific that you want to know that maybe I can find the answer for, or at least ask how other institutions or other instructional designers are handling those questions for faculty members on their own campuses. So I hope this helps you to be able to figure out sort of what directions you want to go, and know that there are always people around to help.